There's a strange agreement every Australian seems to have made with the water. The dangerous things live out there, beyond the reef, in the open ocean. Not here, not in the harbour, not in the water your kids swim in every summer. But the animals never agreed to those rules. Today we're counting down 11 creatures hiding in Australia's waters, not the deadliest on paper, but the ones people forget are there. And by the end of this list, you'll understand why the most dangerous thing isn't the animal. It's believing the water is empty. Subscribe if you haven't. Drop a comment with where you're watching from. Now let's get in. Number 11. Most people who hear about this animal for the first time say the same thing. That can't be real. The blue-ringed octopus fits in the palm of your hand. It lives in rock pools, tide pools, under shells, inside empty bottles on the seafloor. The exact shallow coastal environments where Australian kids poke around barefoot every January. It is tan and mottled and completely unremarkable. Until it isn't. When threatened, iridescent blue rings pulse across its body. Most people, seeing that for the first time, think it's beautiful. They reach toward it, and the venom enters through a bite so small it often leaves no mark at all. The toxin cuts every signal between brain and muscle. The victim stays fully conscious while their body forgets how to breathe. There is no anti-venom. According to the Australian Institute of Marine Science, at least 3 people have died this way, and researchers believe the number is higher because for decades the deaths were blamed on other causes. 3 confirmed deaths from an animal most Australians have handled without knowing what it was. Number 10. In 2001, a man on holiday in Queensland walked into knee-deep water near a reef flat. He was wearing sandals, which he kicked off to feel the warm sand beneath his feet. He stood on a stonefish. What happened next is described in emergency medicine literature as one of the most severe pain responses a human body can produce. The stonefish's 13 dorsal spines drove through the sole of his foot, injecting venom that began destroying tissue within seconds. Witnesses said he was screaming before he could process what had happened. The stonefish is the most venomous fish on Earth. It waits, motionless, encrusted the color of dead reef, in the exact shallow water where Australians wade to the sandbar and let the kids play. Its camouflage is so complete that people sit on them after mistaking them for rocks on the tide line. Stonefish antivenom is one of the most commonly administered antivenoms in Australia, not because deaths are common, because stings are. The fish is everywhere, and almost nobody is looking for it. Number 9. 2 people went swimming at the Great Barrier Reef in 2002. Neither came back. The thing that killed them was the size of a sugar cube, the Irukandji jellyfish, transparent, almost invisible in open water, with a bell no wider than a fingertip. It drifts in from the ocean, pushed by wind and current into the same water where tourists snorkel, where locals swim, where children splash off the back of charter boats. The sting is nothing. A pinprick, sometimes less. The swimmer continues, gets out of the water, towels off, maybe drives back to the resort. Then, between 20 and 40 minutes later, it begins. Severe muscle cramps, back pain that makes it impossible to stand, vomiting, blood pressure spiking dangerously, and a clinical symptom that appears in peer-reviewed medical literature under its official name, a sense of impending doom. Not anxiety, an animal-level certainty of death, so consistent across patients that doctors now document it as a diagnostic indicator. There is no antivenom. Between 50 and 100 people are hospitalized in Australia annually. 2 of them did not survive 2002. The denial is the delay. By the time the syndrome arrives, the water is long behind you. Number 8. Most people assume a shark attack looks like the movies. A dorsal fin, a circling shape, a moment to react. The wobbegong gives you none of that. Called the carpet shark, it lies flat against the seafloor, patterned in browns, ochres and greys that mirror the reef beneath it so precisely that experienced divers miss it at arm's length. The fleshy lobes fringing its jaws complete the disguise. Divers kneel on it. Snorkelers place their hands directly onto it. Waders step on it in tidal pools. Then it bites. And unlike almost every other animal on this list, the wobbegong does not let go. Its teeth are designed to grip. The animal is flexible enough to bend around and bite whatever is restraining it, including the arm of someone trying to pull it off their leg. The International Shark Attack File records 32 attacks from wobbegong species in Australian waters, nearly all classified as unprovoked. Attacks rarely kill, but they cause serious injuries, have sent people to surgery, and happen regularly in water so shallow and so familiar that nobody thought to be afraid of the bottom. Number 7. Everyone knows sharks live in the ocean. One species completely ignored that rule. The bull shark adjusts the salt concentration in its own blood to survive in fresh water. It uses this constantly, moving in from the sea, patrolling rivers and estuaries for weeks, then returning as if the boundary between salt and fresh never existed. Bull sharks have been documented in the Brisbane River, the Swan River through suburban Perth, the Noosa River, Sydney Harbour. In January 2021, one attacked a man swimming in the Swan River at Perth's Blackwall Reach. The state premier noted no such attack had occurred there in 50 years. He survived. In February 2023, a 16-year-old girl jumped off a jet ski into the same river to swim with a pod of dolphins. She didn't survive. The last fatal attack in the Swan River before that had been 1923. 100 years of calm had become a reassurance. A fisherman who caught a large bull shark from the Noosa River in 2023 told reporters there were dozens of them in that water. A video from the same year showed more than 20 bull sharks in the Brisbane River, responding to surface splashing from a single fishing rod. The comment section was full of people recognizing it as somewhere they swam. The real trap isn't the shark. It's the assumption that an inland river is a refuge from the sea. Number 6. Subscribe if you haven't, because from here, it stops being pain and starts being your life. The next animal looks like something you'd buy in a gift shop. One of the most beautiful shells on an Australian beach, patterned like woven cloth, smooth, easy to hold. The kind of thing you pick up without thinking, the kind of thing you slip into your bag to take home for someone. That is the only mistake you'll get to make. The textile cone snail hunts using a harpoon-like structure that fires from a flexible proboscis capable of reaching any direction, including straight into the hand holding the shell. The venom shuts down nerve signaling across the body. Paralysis, respiratory failure. No antivenom exists. Treatment is a ventilator and waiting. The sting can feel like nothing at all. Symptoms may take hours. The person drives home, goes to bed, doesn't wake up. There is no public safety campaign around cone snails in Australia, anywhere near proportionate to the risk. Most people who pick one up have never been told a living animal is inside. Australians don't fear this animal, they don't know it exists, and the creature has no reason to announce itself. It simply waits, beautiful and still, for someone to reach for it. Number 5. Here is where this list turns, because the next creature killed people in Australia for decades before the scientific establishment believed it was real. Swimmers along Queensland's coast were dying in shallow water, sometimes within minutes, with thin, whip-like marks on their skin. The animal was transparent, gone before anyone could identify it. Death after death was attributed to drowning, to heart failure, to anything more plausible than a jellyfish killing a healthy adult in under 5 minutes. It took decades before medicine formally acknowledged what Aboriginal coastal communities had long understood: the box jellyfish. Tentacles up to 3 meters long, invisible in the water column, carrying venom that hits the heart, the nervous system, and the skin at the same time. It has killed at least 69 people in Australia since records began. The most recent confirmed death was a 17-year-old boy in Cape York in 2021. His life support was removed a week after the sting. Stinger nets protect some beaches from November to May. They don't cover rivers, estuaries, or areas outside the nets. They don't cover the other 7 months of the year. And they send a message the animal doesn't honor, that the risk has a boundary. It doesn't. Number 4. Almost nobody includes this in their mental map of Australian water hazards, because the map was built around land snakes, and the rules that apply on land do not carry into the ocean. Australia has the most venomous land snakes on Earth. What far fewer people know is that its sea snakes are equally or more venomous, present in significant numbers in coastal and estuarine waters, and docile enough that divers regularly let them approach without concern. That is exactly where the danger lives. The olive sea snake inhabits the Great Barrier Reef and northern Australian waters. It is curious. Divers describe it wrapping loosely around their limbs while investigating. Its venom destroys muscle tissue and floods the kidneys with breakdown products that can cause failure within hours. The beaked sea snake lives in estuaries and river mouths across northern Australia. It causes the majority of sea snake bites on fishermen worldwide, typically when nets are hauled, and the entangled snake is grabbed without a second thought. A calm animal is not a safe animal. Sea snakes bite when restrained or frightened, and the ocean offers endless ways to frighten or accidentally restrain one. A tank strap, a net, a hand reaching under a coral ledge. The ocean is not land. A lifetime of bush snake instincts means nothing here. The snake that approaches a diver with curiosity is the same snake that bites when it can't get away. Number 3. You already know crocodiles live in Australian rivers. What almost no one thinks about is what they do between rivers. Saltwater crocodiles are powerful open ocean swimmers. They travel along coastlines, rest on beaches and enter harbours. They have been removed from tourist beaches in Queensland. They have been found in swimming areas days after crowds were there. One documented case, a crocodile was removed from a beach the morning after a group had been swimming from it the afternoon before. Between 2001 and 2021, saltwater crocodiles were involved in 25 deaths in Australia. A meaningful proportion occurred where victims believed they were outside crocodile range. The mental model, crocs are a river problem, a top-end problem, a problem for people who ignore the signs, was accurate enough to feel like a rule. The sign infrastructure was built for rivers and billabongs because that's where the model said the risk was. The animal travels along the coast and does not know where the signs stop. Number 2. Australia averages more than 3 fatal shark attacks every year. Since 1791, there have been nearly 1,300 recorded shark incidents in these waters. More than 260 of them were fatal. And the vast majority of those deaths involved one species, the great white shark. Up to 6 meters long, built entirely around a single function. It strikes from below at full speed before a swimmer, surfer or diver can register what is happening. No circling, no warning, no escalation, no fin cutting through the surface the way every film and every swimming lesson taught people to look for. One strike from underneath, with no indication it was ever there. In September 2022, a great white killed a swimmer off a Sydney beach in the city's first fatal attack in nearly 60 years. In May 2026, one killed a diver at Rottnest Island off Perth. Between those two, surfers and spearfishers were killed along both coasts. The great white is at number 2, but not number 1, for a specific reason. People know it is there, they fear it, they check sighting reports, heed flag warnings, scan the water before entering. The denial around the great white is smaller than the denial around every other creature on this list. Fear, at least, keeps people looking. Number 1. There is a reef in Australia that millions of people visit every year. They snorkel it, dive it, photograph it, wade its shallows. They leave with a feeling of having done something safe and extraordinary, a controlled adventure, managed and beautiful. That reef is the single most dangerous environment on this entire list. The Great Barrier Reef is home to every creature already mentioned. The blue-ringed octopus, the stonefish, the irukandji, the cone snail, the box jellyfish, the sea snake, the bull shark, the wobbegong, the great white. Every entry on this countdown exists within or adjacent to the same ecosystem, but the reef's specific danger is something else entirely. The tiger shark. It is the second most dangerous shark species to humans globally, after the great white, but unlike the great white, which favors cooler offshore waters, the tiger shark is a reef predator. Warm water, shallow, murky channels. The exact habitats the Great Barrier Reef provides in abundance. It is found throughout the Whitsundays, the ribbon reefs, the coral sea. It is the species most likely to be in the water with a tourist snorkeling at 2 meters depth. In September 2018, 3 people were attacked by sharks in the Whitsundays within 2 months. A 12-year-old girl lost a leg. A man died. Tourists and snorkelers were in the same harbours, often on the same days as those attacks. The Whitsundays had recorded fewer than 5 shark attacks in the previous 25 years. In the space of 8 weeks, the number more than doubled. Authorities struggled to explain the escalation. Environmental changes, shifting prey patterns, warming water temperatures. No single cause was confirmed. That uncertainty was never resolved. Number 1 is the Great Barrier Reef, not because it holds the deadliest single animal on this list. It's number 1 because it holds all of them, draws millions of people into the water every year, and markets itself as one of the natural wonders of the world, which it is. What no brochure says is that every creature on this countdown feels most at home there. The reef is extraordinary. It is also exactly as dangerous as it has always been, and almost nobody going into it is thinking about that. Tomorrow, thousands of Australians will walk into this water. Most of them won't see a single dangerous creature. That doesn't mean the creatures aren't there. The water never changed. Only what you know about it did.